And my mic is live. We are live. Welcome. It's Sunday morning. This is Art of Rock. Normally at this stage, I would go into a spiel about what's going on, about, hey, Patreon, hey, buy my shit. But today we're going to jump right into it because we are... Welcome, Chris. I see you in Twitch. We're talking about the politics of the world right now. And we're talking about that there's a lot of fear and a lot of concern, and a lot of us are going, what the fuck is going on? This is going to affect everyone, some more than others. Here's Eric. So what I want to do is I want to throw the floor open and talk about... Eric, welcome. Hi, Eric. I can't hear you, but you're there. There you are. I want to throw the floor open and talk about... I don't want to focus on politics. I don't want to focus on the situation. I'm talking about Russia and Ukraine. Hey, Russia, fuck off. Just so we make it clear where we're politically standing on this right now. I want to talk about how you, for your sanity and those around you, can cultivate something amazing with your art from this situation. Turn this madness into art. The floor is open. The first hand I see has the floor. Or I'll talk. Julius.
Hello. So, I brought a question today. One day I posted a demo song of mine into our Discord, and you gave some really useful feedback. Thanks again, Carl, and all the others who listened. And Carl, your feedback, you said something about the kick and the bass that it needed to breathe together.
Yeah.
And still trying to figure it out because is it how the bass line is written? Is it not fitting the kick?
No.
Or
Okay.
About compression. Yeah.
All right, we can talk about this instead of the thing. I mean, ultimately, let's talk about making music because that's what it's all about. So
Yeah.
what I want to do, what I was talking about with that is I want you to listen. The interaction between your kick and your bass line is really important. And as a great example, I want you to listen to a band called Fleetwood Mac because, my God, and obviously the Beatles. But Fleetwood Mac nailed the bass and the kick drum. The relationship between the way it is this package, this solid package. And the way you do that is by, I think so anyway, step one, sidechain your bass to your kick. Step one. So that when the kick is playing at the same time, it's pulling the volume back on the bass. Now, this next step is arguable. Step two is set up a bus. So both of those, the bass and the kick, are going to go into that bus, and it's a mono bus. Only needs to be a mono bus. In fact, maybe it could be a stereo bus. No, do it a mono bus. And what you're going to do is you're going to compress them both together. But you're not going to need too much compression, just a little bit, like 3:1 at -6. And there might be a bit of an attack. So there might be a 50 millisecond, maybe a 50 millisecond, 100 millisecond attack, so that a transient is going to go through when those two guys collide. So what's going to be happening is step one is the bass is going to squish, the kick drum squishes the bass back a little bit when they're both talking at the same time. But when it's just the bass, it's up here. But then the kick brings it up like this. Boom, 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 like that. Boom. Boom, boom. So the kick will be paramount. Then you're going to compress them together gently. You might EQ that thing together gently, and then out it goes to mixing. That's just one thought. I can tell that Razzie wants to throw in on this one, and you're absolutely welcome to. So do you want to?
Yeah, I've gone through the decades of everything loud all the time. Kick drum should kick you in the gut, and the snare drum should take your head off. But one of the things that we sometimes forget is composition. You mentioned Fleetwood Mac, and I would say Duran Duran also to an even greater extent. You've got a balance between that kick, and in Duran Duran the kick is very slow, very low in level. Fleetwood Mac, the kick drum is not a prominent feature of the song. But when they mesh and they line up, it's they're playing on the off eights, so they're playing pickup notes and accents and stuff. But when the kick and the bass guitar in these cases come together, that's your level. That's your nominal level. And the rest of them are the breath and the accents. It doesn't really apply to Four on the Floor, floor killer, dance club kind of sound. But there is something to it. Going back to composition, if you're meticulous about where you've placed your loudest bass parts, your loudest accented notes in the bass line, then if you do have a 4 on quarter notes kick, you can work around them. And the ones that come in on with the kicks, let that be your level. We're going to compress the hell out of everything anyway by the time you're down the chain. Between the individual compression on the instruments and then the group compression that Carl talked about, totally essential, shaping the transients with your attack time, and then eventually the buses and the mix itself, and then if you're mastering, engineer compresses it again. We're going to have these ratios that are 12-1. But go back to composition and make sure that when you listen, I'm not even saying solo, people forget sometimes, when you listen in context, that the conversation between the bass line and the kick drum are appropriate, and they're not arguing with each other when you don't want them to be, and they rise to the level that you want them to be at when they do talk together.
Thank you. I can't put my hand up, so I put my hand up because it won't let me put my hand up. That's a really good point as well, is that so on this track you played me, it's great, it's solid, it's great, and that's a really relevant point as well, is that if the kick drum is holding down the house at 4 on the floor, there's no guesswork there. Because considering how loud that, I'm a kick drum and I'm 4 on the floor, it's like, so what's really cool about that is that there is so much room to experiment. Because with so much EBM, electronic dance music, it is really 120 to 140. And the cool thing about that range is there's quite a lot of funk you can talk about in that range. And this is where a very important thing called air bass guitar comes in. You play it like this, you don't play it like this. And the thing about air bass guitar is that you might be going dung, dunk, gunk, gunk, dunk, dung, dunk, gunk, gunk, dunk, dung, dunk. Listen to The Prodigy. Listen to Michael Jackson. Listen to fucking Bootsy Collins. That remember that you can put almost as much synchronization in that bass, now I'm getting off topic, as you want.
Syncopation's key.
Yeah, because if it's slamming that 4, you can fuck around to and if you, this is a wonderful thing about Bootsy Collins, is he plays nothing. Sometimes he's a demon, but predominantly he'll play 2 or 3 notes in the bass, like being bang, bang, gung 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 gung. That's it. So everything else is just, So the cool thing about syncopation is that while the kick's doing this, the bass is doing. It's not only on the 8ths, but remember there are 16ths in there as well. And it's the 16ths that make people move, because you can add groove quantize to the 16ths. I am now way off topic. I'm going to throw it back to you, Julius. How do you feel about what I've just said?
Very comfortable. Thank you.
All right, cool.
No. It really did help me, and also Raziel, thank you. It did help me. It's a combination of what I actually thought and your example, Carl, with the funk stuff and accentuation was the solution to my problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Please also know that everybody has an ulterior motive. My ulterior motive is bring back slap bass. Rizzy, I see your hand.
Just to wrap it up, Brothers Johnson, James Jamerson.
Boom. Yeah. And we talk about this sometimes, often, probably not often amount, is to broaden what you listen to. I don't think it's a good idea at all when you're writing an EBM album, listen to EBM. I just don't think it's a good idea. You want to broaden it. Sure, there's a market, and intrinsically is the wrong word. You will write music for EBM kind of stuff. But the more broad you are, the more cool stuff that can start coming in, and the more things to listen to, like the groove that different people use. And hey, listen to Stuart Copeland playing hi-hats. It's not dunce. It's like, oh my God. So Stuart Copeland is ex-Police, the band The Police, and he also played a bunch with Peter Gabriel and a million other people. One of the best drummers around because of what he doesn't play. There's so much space. Is there anybody else who wants to throw in on this thing, or do we want to throw ourselves into the terrifying world of business? Razi, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly which one to land on here. I think the bigger issue right now for me is I haven't put anything out. Yeah, I'll go with this one. I haven't put anything out. I mean, really 10 years. I've been doing a lot of making videos and live versions and stuff like that. But my last album was a good decade ago. And I'm stuck on the sort of fulcrum of holding myself back a little bit longer for the next year, like shopping it to labels and figuring out who I even have in my contact list. Or just going ahead and making a release plan that includes putting songs out individually and building promo around those. And I guess if I have to turn that into a question rather than just a point of discussion, what have you done successfully, and what would you do if you forgot to put out records for a really long time?
Right, thank you. And if anybody else has something, throw their hand up. I'm hoping Drake's going to go on, because me and Drake are throwing around a really cool idea currently with his band, 40 octaves below. So here's what I would be doing. And this is such a great question, because ultimately everybody starts every album out fresh. Like, it doesn't matter if you haven't done an album in 10 years, or you've just done a really excellent album and you're trying to top it, or this is the first album you're putting out, or I'm trying something new. This is great, because we're all here. Going by what I have noticed recently in what works for me as the metrics on Spotify. I know everybody likes to hate Spotify, but Spotify is really good. It's really good. And I just want to say that if there was a radio station where you got 1,000 plays, online or other, you would not probably be being paid as much as Spotify does, because there is an engine behind Spotify. And sure, he's a greedy bastard, but hey, this is fucking capitalism. There is an engine behind Spotify designed for you to take advantage of and to get your music out there. And wait for it, it's free. You just need to know how to use it. It's free. This is what we're doing with Drake. I hope he doesn't mind me talking about this. I'll talk about the Angelspit one because it's the same thing. Okay, so step one. I would be recommending that you put out a single. And there are going to be 3 or 4 singles before the album. Those singles are going to end up on the album, but they might be album versions, so they have a different ISRC number and they have different cataloging and all of that. They're technically different songs because you can't push the same song twice. 3 or 4 singles, and ultimately, like in an ideal world, they're going to go out every 2 months, maybe every 3 months. If you can do them with a video, that would be amazing. I've got to tell you though, my metrics are showing that videos don't really mean very much at all. Like, really? I will get some YouTube plays, but it's not pushing sales, and it's not pushing... Well, it is, but it's not really. My success, where I seem to be having the most success, is through Spotify and Radio Play and Pandora and stuff like that. So, you're going to put out a new release every month, every 2 months, or whatever. That single, if you can have a B-side, excellent. That B-side might be a reworking of an old track you've done, and there might be a couple of remixes. Make sure they're good, strong remixes. 2 remixes. And make sure the remixes aren't the same track that you've done. Like, oh, I've taken the verse chorus and I've just changed the music. Don't do that. We talked about this last week. Make mayhem in the remix. You're going to push it to DJs. You're going to push it across social media. But what's important is that every other person, as in remixer, etc., is going to be, when you upload it to your agitator like DistroKid or fucking AWOL, you are going to be making, if they did a remix, obviously you'll put them in the remix dropdown, but you're also going to do them as a contributing artist. That means that when Spotify sends you saying, "Hey man, you've got some new music. Do you want to push it to the artist, submit it to DJs and do all that shit, the new releases stuff," they will receive one too. Let's say I remix you. So you will get a notification. I will get a notification. Here's the trick. You're going to utilize each of the remixes by making them a featured artist. They don't get a cut of it unless that's a part of the agreement, but they will also receive in their new releases thingy, and then they're going to push it to Spotify's submission engine. And if you submit it about a month early, you'll get 2 or 3 weeks worth of pushing. That pushing is so important. I cannot express how important that is. If you have DJ promo contacts, send it to the DJs about 2 weeks out. Then drop the video. And have a, I need to take my fucking own advice. Have a listening party. Here's Rob, out pain. Have a listening party or something on Facebook or something. Or do a live streaming event. Rob, welcome. Oh, look at you without a mustache and a beard. Don't you look like a strapping young lad? And I have to warn you, Rob, there might be a New Zealander coming on next week. I know, we're not saying anything. But it's going to be like 3 a.m. in Auckland. Yes, in Auckland, it's 3 a.m. But don't laugh at their accent. That's rude. We can laugh at their accent, but you can't. Rob, the glint in your eye right now. So there, that's what I think you should do. And then rinse and repeat. Because the objective is to ever so slowly build that mountain. That's the objective. And plus, I've got a Spotify playlist. Send me the track when it's done, and I will add it to the Spotify playlist. And the point of that Spotify playlist is everybody pushes the Spotify playlist once a week. Which I didn't do last week because I'm a crap. Go!
I love all the advice. It feels familiar and comfortable. And I'm in a position now where I've made a record that is less club friendly than I've ever done. So the remix angle is crucial, for sure. And also, it's ripe for it. So this is super fun. Matter of fact, I've been doing acoustic versions of them, just solo performance with acoustic guitar into multicam kind of thing. And that's been my alternative version. So right up my alley. Everything sounds amazing. I'm sure I'll have more to think about in, another 7 days. I'll have more questions.
All right, cool.
Based on that, but this feels terrific. Thank you.
All right. And it's going to be little brick by little brick. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm slow with this stuff, obviously.
Yeah, right. If anybody else has an idea of Julius, go. And then I want to talk about free Bandcamp, go.
Okay, I don't have much experience. I have released one serious EP so far in music, and what helped me, in addition to what Carl said, was press releases. And you don't necessarily have to have press contacts already. There are some alternative online magazines who are happy to receive your press package. For example, there is Brutal Resonance. If you've heard about them, you can do a commission and they will do a review or put you on their starting page. So yeah, that's what I got.
Actually, yeah, on that, Brutal Resonance, Regen, they have a situation where you can buy advertising or you can pay them to do a piece. And I highly advise, I don't have a problem at all with that because these guys have been doing this for free for so long. And it's the most humiliatingly tiny amount of money. And they fucking well deserve it. So Facebook ads, Instagram ads, yes, they work. Yeah. They're probably still the best bang for buck, I think. But I like paying these online magazines because I'm throwing money back into the tribe.
Way better place to put it.
Yes. Also, so you've been doing this from 10 years ago. That means, are your albums on Bandcamp?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How soon before you think you're going to start releasing these singles?
I'm ready to go, you know?
Okay.
I mean, yeah, now.
So now is really going to be a couple of months because you got to send them out to remixes, You've got to submit them, have them finished, submit them, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to talk 3 months. What I would suggest you do right now, today or tomorrow, is make a small EP of your previous tracks that you've already got on Bandcamp for free. Make it free. Now, here's the reason you're going to do this is because, and then you're going to tell everybody, hey, go download these 3 tracks, and it might be a good song, a mediocre song, and a B-side. 3 tracks. You're going to do this every month, and it's going to be free. The reason it's going to be free is because when people jump on your Bandcamp, get something, acquire something for free, and they can throw you a tip if they want. Excuse me, but when they do it for free, they get thrown onto your Bandcamp group. And the Bandcamp group is money. Because any other mail list, they're not really there usually. Half of them, quarter of them might be there to buy stuff, but on Bandcamp, if their name is there, they want to support you, they want music. Then next month, you do it again, and you tell them. You use the Bandcamp, tell people the Bandcamp email thing, which is free, to message your Bandcamp people. Because when you put up a new thing, Bandcamp will automatically push it to your subscribers. A week later, you might send them a reminder. Then the next month, here's the next 3 tracks. Out it goes. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of fucking around, but you will start building up that core of people who were interested in you, are interested in you. You're going to start pushing it. And every month and across all of your social medias, hey, get this for free. Get it for free. Go. Eric.
I just wanted to add with what you were saying. When you put it up for free, it's always free or what you want to pay. And I find usually people always give you something. So very, very seldom times have actually somebody download the song for free. Usually they give you $1 or something for it.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. And if you want to do something crazy, then push that money into online advertising. Because remember, technically speaking, a quarter of your budget at least has to go into advertising. At least. And another thing, there's things called bands in town. And all of you will already exist on Bands in Town. And obviously make sure you've claimed your Spotify artist. Like, that's mission fucking critical. And make sure you've got it now, before you release. Bands in Town is great. Go check it out. Most likely your band is there. And if it's not there, make it there. It will connect somehow to Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, etc. I've got a really strong following on that. I think most of them are bots. In fact, I'm pretty fucking sure most of them are bots. But I will send that every time I do a live thing, every time I do a release. I'll also push it out that channel. And the thing to remember about, I personally believe, is when you do a release, you have to tell people 5 times. So, and it's 5 times across all social media. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You know, Twitter still yields for me. People will go and listen from a Twitter post more than they will from a Facebook or an Instagram, or TikTok is not very useful for me personally. But don't forget Twitter. And yeah, that's it. Julius, you've got a smile on your face and you're making me nervous. Okay, you don't have a smile on your face anymore. Now I am nervous. Does anybody else want to throw in something here? Because Well, the great thing about this fucking shit is it's always changing, so there's always new little hacks that we can be doing. On the subject of hack, big call out to all the hackers who are attacking Russia. Keep at it, guys. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Anyway, so, does anybody else want to throw anything in there? And a big call out to Angelspit fans in Russia. We fucking love you. Keep the solidarity. You know this is bullshit. Don't fucking let it happen. We're fucking with you. And Ukraine, fuck, our hearts beat with you right now. Does anybody else want to throw in another question? I just had to fucking throw that out there because it's so important. Julius, I see your beautiful finger.
Yeah, I mentioned that last week actually. Maybe if you want, we could talk about how Art of Rock has affected our way of making music and being an artist.
Great. Do you want to start?
I would love to, but I haven't fully thought about that yet.
Okay. I've thought about it.
Affected me, but I still need to think about how to. I need to process. Okay?
All right, sure. I'll throw it to you, Razzie.
I've watched a total of 2 episodes and been on one, and I find it motivating and inspirational, and I got my head into business. Just ratcheted it up a little bit more, just having made this leap, and I think it's a valuable resource so far.
Thank you. I've you guys already know this, but my last album was 90% mixed. Diesel Priest was 90% mixed, and then based on conversations we had here, I scrubbed the mixes. I actually deleted a whole bunch of plugins from my computer, and I went back to right back to scratch, and started again. Just compression, just EQ, no maximizing, no fucking isotope, none of that shit. Go right back, because yeah, it's really important to have a process, but sometimes that process gets it gets watered down. You know, it starts clogging the mix up. I found that I'm pushing my lyrics harder. I'm finding that I am taking bigger risks. I'm finding that I am creating more instruments, building more instruments. And you know, when Vince and Eric went on their guitar distortion pedal rant, it changed my signal flow for distortion. And I thought I was fucking Mr. Distortion, and I knew nothing. I still know nothing about distortion pedals. But I'm learning. I'm gonna shut up, Mark. What you got?
Hey, yeah, so for me, Art of Rock inspired me to, actually get back into music, because I kind of tried to get into it some years ago, but it just wasn't really working for me. I was like, whatever. But yeah, Art of Rock, it took a year, but I said, you know what, fine, I'm going to just do it. I'm just going to go for it. I mean, worst I can have is people don't like it, and then I'll get better.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Eric!
Yeah, I think the main thing that I've taken from Art of Rock is definitely the friends that I've made here, for sure. I've met a lot of you that I didn't know before, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And it's motivational. I've had a tendency to, I still do, but I will put my music away for, like Raziel said, he did his for 10 years. I haven't done that long, but I'll get pissed off and, depressed about it and think it sucks, and I'll just stop doing it for a while. But this has definitely motivated me to keep. I work on my music at least once a week now. I do more, but I still go into like ebb and flows. And now starting a new job, it's even harder because now it's 40 hours a week are draining me. So it's been rough. But yeah, the friends here and the motivation for sure has helped me. Talking about promotional stuff has helped me a lot, because that's probably the weakest point that I have. So whenever I know Carl always says it's boring, and yeah, it is boring, but I think as artists and musicians that we all have a issue of not wanting to go on social media and do stuff. So it's very pushing and demanding in a good way that helps me really want to go and do it. And I've learned so much just about I'm not going to blow myself up, but I'm pretty good at mixing, but I've learned a lot of stuff that I did not know, and it's helped me a lot making my music stronger and better. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot more I could talk about, but those are like some big points. So much love and thank you all.
You're a rock star, Eric. Thank you, and thank you for your input about distortion. Rob.
What can I say? I don't know how many episodes I've watched. I have no idea. It seems like a lot. At least 12 months. And for what it's worth, this community is fucking awesome. And I know it's bigger than just the faces that we see each Sunday. So that's awesome. Time management is the biggest lesson that I've had from this session, particularly with Carl's schedule of lead up to release events. And it's something that I'm not familiar with. So my time is very carefully spared across family, work, and passion. And this feeds my passion. So I'm not trying to make money out of this, but I am a perfectionist. So every single little tip that you guys provide goes into my brain. Every single episode, I'm learning more and more and more. And so I've taken a lot more time out to better my mental health and my physical health because of this community. Yesterday, I did a 20-mile hike and I rode 8 kilometers on Friday. So I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm getting out of the slum and glum of being locked in my office. I don't actually work my day job at home in my studio anymore because it was creating toxicity. I couldn't get into my passion by being in the same room as the room that I work. So getting outside, exercising, socializing, communicating, that feeds my passion. And Carl's schedule of planning, preparation, you know, near enough is good enough, but also being a perfectionist is really important to me. So I've learned a lot from that. And yeah, I do have a massive backlog of tracks that I'm working with folks, but that's okay. We're all cool. Time will yield. So, you know, doing a lot of work with electronics, circuit design. Carl always asks me questions that recharge my old batteries in those areas where I might be getting a bit rusty, so that's fun. Alex and that asking questions about problems with electronics. That's a passion of mine. I love repairing, designing circuits, building things. This has also been a great community for that because I've extensively been more of a support person to bands, whether it's, you know, house desk operation or electronic design, fixing, you know, little amplifiers and FM transmitters in guitars and all that sort of old crap. That's always been my fun, but getting into music now is really my biggest passion and my biggest release. And it doesn't matter how angry you are or sad you get or happy you are, music is an awesome outlet, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be recognized for it. So following this Art of Rock program is a way to fulfill one of your life desires. That's how I see this.
Thanks, Rob. And thank you for your input about, we were talking about not capacitance.
Chickens.
We were talking about chickens, and the
Filters.
the output of the chicken output of a keyboard impedance.
Oh, impedance. Yes,
Yep.
Indeed.
And thanks also for your there's a real Australian rock solidarity with us because we both saw it, and I think that this is something really important to remind these guys that rock and roll has got us through shit, and it will always get us through shit.
And how can we sleep while our beds are burning?
Yeah. And when the world is turning. When I was at uni, Rob Hurst from Midway and Oil gave us a lecture about. It was really good. He was talking about drums and the core of that guy's a motherfucker drummer. He's so solid. Just the core backbone of drumming. But I digress. Mez, your hand was up before, and thank you again Your hand. Did I see your hand up? All right, shoot.
Yeah, sorry, my internet cut out, but yeah, it's been good coming to these sessions. I first started talking to Zug when I was in the depths of the worst mental health crisis of the pandemic, and I decided that was when I was going to start making music, even though I had like no experience with that. And now I've got a music video out, and I'm gonna keep going with that. So I'm like really stoked to be here and have a supportive community. It really meant the world to me when I had my stuff on MTV TV, and there were people from here commenting and supporting me. That was really amazing. Yeah, and then I also last week I watched the Blipvert on Church, and I tried to start that. I spent like 2.5 hours straight on Tuesday just doing work on music, and that was a good thing that I want to keep up. So yeah, that's been my experience with it.
That is awesome, and I thank you. And I welcome Melanie and Lockie. Just feel free to throw your camera on or leave it off. It doesn't matter because we're streaming. If you have a question, throw your hand up. And if you're not talking, leave your mic muted, which I should do in a minute. Mess, I want to thank you because you've you challenged me to push it harder. It was really interesting. Something you and Julius both bring actually is the importance of visuals that feed music, specifically this visual. And it was really great to listen to that perspective and listen. It's just a reminder that art is art is all, and art can feed visuals, architecture, music, food, whatever. So thank you. Julius.
Yeah, okay, so first off, these meetings have really improved my spoken English. I think so, at least. And yeah, trying not to exaggerate here, but actually Art of Rock, music-wise, is everything for me, because I don't think that Brandschatz, my musical act, would even exist without this, and wouldn't even out there in public without Art of Rock. And for me, it's kind of like the musical education I never got in real life, and I get a lot of, I learn a lot from here in all aspects of music, marketing, mixing, songwriting, everything, and it's just, I can only recommend everyone who wants to make music and start from the scratch to join this community. It's a wonderful and loving community, and I'm very thankful also for the people I've met here. So it's a thing for my musical heart and for my soul.
You're a fucking legend, and we always love your questions, man. And also,
if you want to see a real true punk rocker, look at Julius's photos of when he was a young guitarist. Total mad dude. I love those photos.
Okay, I don't remember when did I post those?
I don't know. I've seen them. They're freaking cool.
yeah, I saw some.
They must have been on Discord or something.
Holy shit! I don't.
Yeah.
remember.
You look great. Yeah, I remember seeing one with your guitar. You look like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're wearing a big pair
Yeah.
of boots.
Yeah. In your younger days, you said it was.
Okay.
You played guitar.
Awesome. Can't
He took
remember.
to me. Yeah, he has no recollection of that. So let's move on.
That's all right. Razzie, I see your hand.
I think I mentioned to you, Carl, I was joining a AV production daily Zoom meeting called Office Hours for past couple of years. Started around the same time as the pandemic. And that was extremely fortifying for my day job stuff, video production, and basically moving into finding ways to help people look better on camera and sound better in meetings. But every time somebody would bring up music, it was like, here's my electric violin plugged in solo thing, and here's my mandolin solo performance. And there was it never coalesced around solo artists who do their own production and songwriting and promotion and stuff, like as a passion. So when I say I have big hopes for this particular group. It certainly seems to bear out. I just wanted to draw the distinction of what I see on screen in the grid here versus what I was seeing in that one. Strengths are different, but a lot more synthesizers, a lot more people in their environments.
Yeah.
Very inspirational.
Thanks, mate. It's also really important to remember that I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, and so many of you guys don't either. And between us, like, that's a strength. It really is. So, like, so often when it's marketing or with music, you want to have no idea what you're doing because you're leaving yourself open to something fucking awesome happening. Just I think that it's important that we, we've got an environment here where we can kick ideas around. And so much of the marketing shit that I'm doing, that came from here. John and, Mark, you guys, John's not here right now, but there's a lot of like hard information that comes in from you guys about the reality of data. And when Rose jumps in and talks about, social media and all that shit, it's really good because we can learn more about actual factuality of what's going on and how we can therefore utilize that into our marketing. Shabam! Big love to everybody in Ukraine. And once again, all my beautiful hacker babies, keep hacking Russia. Chop that tree down. Does anybody have a question that they want to bring up or anything at all? Because today is a day of... I see your hand. I was about to go into a rant. Go, Razzie, go. Was there another hand? Oh, Mark, I see your hand.
Yeah, I was just going to throw in real quick on that last note. Ukrainian food is delicious.
Right on. And it washes down very well with a Molotov cocktail, I'm told. Actually, it's interesting that one of the main brewers, Ukrainian beer brewers, is now... That's the number one thing they're making. Molotov cocktails. Yeah, fucking awesome. The lesson the world's learned is don't fuck with Ukraine. Yeah, and I'm loving your cat, by the way. Cats are so welcome, and mine hasn't started screaming yet. Did anybody have a question regarding life or music or rock and roll or production or... Yes, Razzie, I see your hand.
I can't see if I'm unmuted, though.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yes,
I can hear
the
perfect.
Cat is directly between me and that part of the screen. Remixes, budgeting, paid versus trade.
Okay, I did a blipvert on remixing, and I don't know if you saw that one or that. I cover a lot of that there, but I'll talk about it again. My thought is that the thing about a paid remix is you should be getting, you got to be getting a name, and you've got to be getting a product that's going to do the job. I think if you play it right, it could be a very good use of money, and plus you're making a contact with a band. If you're going to trade, make sure you are trading with somebody on an equal stepping or slightly higher than you. The thing that gets me about trades, and this is why I don't personally do trades, is that I find that I will put 30 hours, 40 hours into a remix. I put so much time into a remix, and like my a desire for a where is fucking Alex? Alex, why aren't you here right now? I think he's in the comments. My thing about a remix, here he is. Jump in, you bastard. My thing about trading a remix is that sometimes I don't get the same amount of love and investment that I've put into that remix from the other band, which kind of sucks. I could mention a whole bunch of bands that will meet me with as much love and a fucking powerhouse remix. The Gothsicles. Anything Brian does is so good. The guys are fucking brilliant. Brilliant remixer. And Space Couch is back on today, by the way. And I should... Anyway. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, is that the way I do remixing is totally different. Like, I will actually purposefully bring in a whole bunch of new bands, because my ulterior motive is I'm trying to help them build their Spotify and online real estate, because I'm blessed to be in a position where I can do that now. So that's my thing. But as far as like, if you're doing a remix, if you're doing a trade, equal footing or better. Because the objective is you want to elevate yourself. That's the objective, I think. And anybody is welcome at this point to throw in on that thing now. Melanie, welcome. Oh, wow, so many fucking things. No one's talking to my face. Lockie, do you want to say anything? Wow. It's like I just offended everyone. It's like the whole world just become one big tumbleweed.
So DJ Loki.
You throw in?
I have actually had more success than I ever thought I would be just reaching out to artists that are higher than me. Even if sometimes they can't do anything for you, sometimes it's just like very motivating that they'll listen to you. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I have had bands besides Carl, other people actually willing to listen to me and tell me it's good, even if they haven't offered me help. It's still like enough motivation for me to continue to promote myself. So, yeah. So like, even if it seems like they'll never fucking listen to you, there are ways to get them to listen to you. Like throw $1 in their Patreon and then like send them a message. You know what I mean? And then you never know what could come from that.
Yeah. This is really interesting that, firstly, redefine a swap. You might not need a remix. See, for example, I used to do a thing where I would swap like a 3-hour conversation with somebody about how you can market yourself. I will throw it to my DJs. I will. I've got people. I know people who'll do a T-shirt, who will design you a T-shirt. And don't laugh at that. That's really amazing. Other people are saying, look, I need you to do me a remix, and in reply, I'll do you a vocal track, because not everybody you're going to deal with is a hands-on producing kind of people. You know, some people it's like, well, I got my vocals. Excuse me, again, that can definitely work. That's another really important thing, that, you know, you're helping your, you know, this favor currency. It doesn't just have to be a remix. It might be, hey man, I'll do you a guitar track. I'll do you a something, you know? Yes. Yes. Does anybody want to throw in a question? And remember, just throw your hand up if you want to throw a question. Or we could go on some crazy rant about creation of art and how to funnel mayhem into art. Or we could talk about that. We could talk about, okay, so I think it's really important at this moment. I'm going to talk about funneling global madness into your music. Because sometimes you feel like you can't do anything. Mez, should I shut up and let you talk? Yeah, go. It's good.
I just, okay, I am, so like with my inexperience and attention difficulties, I am looking at working with studios and people with experience with studios in order to make my music. I'm going to a friend's place later today who has like a home studio, and trying to work with him, and I don't know if I have an exact question. I just want to throw it out and see about people, if people have any tips or experience or advice with working with other people or working with studios and stuff like that.
Thank you so much. Razzie, I'm going to go after you if that's okay. The floor is yours.
The trick is listening. It's tough to concentrate, especially if you've got maybe similar attention things that, as I do. Where the rush of the moment where you're either auditioning their work or listening to your own work in their hands, sometimes you get wrapped up in the experience and you don't take a moment to really listen and trust your ears and opinion on what just came out, and you end up with something that's maybe not even a collaboration. It's just their work and you didn't get to weigh in. So listening and feeling free, that you're both, if there's two people, collaborating on the outcome of a great sounding piece and a great result. The song is what matters, and neither of you are on opposing teams. You're both collaborators in listening and talking and making the thing sound the way you want it to. And that goes right from the jump, like right when you walk in the door.
Great. I think it's Rob, go.
I've talked about this once before. The problem is that it's very difficult to know what's inside the original artist's head and in their heart. So if you listen to somebody's track and they want you to add something to it, chances are you'll get it wrong every time. Because even if you like their music and you feel the vibe and you can jam with it, they'll quickly come back and tell you that that's not really what they're looking for. So it's very difficult to complement an original artist's music and still have it to be theirs. So like Raziel said, if you're going to do something together, it becomes a new entity. It's you and that other artist, and you've both got to agree that you like the sound together and it hits the mark together. If you, by adding your bit to their part, doesn't sound like what they wanted, then it's still clearly their piece of music that you're trying to support, and you're not doing something together. So until you both agree that's exactly what you want it to sound like, or you think it sounds good together, then make sure you're doing your equal share of rights. And in some cases, we've just made up a new artist name together. Just have a few drinks, brainstorm, come up with something ridiculous, and release your music together as a new entity, and say that was fun. We both enjoyed it, but we both didn't try to make it our own. If you try to do that, you may not necessarily experience success. It needs to be more transactional. You probably want to say, please lay down a drum track, give me 5 drum tracks. I'll pick one and I won't tell you which one I choose, and pay them the money. Make it transactional. Otherwise, if you're both in it for the art, you've got to be in it as a team, and you both got to play it out together and then release it together. Don't try to own somebody else's stuff.
That's brilliant advice. Melanie, what you got?
I was actually going to ask, like, what kind of session is this exactly? Because then my advice will depend on like that.
Basically, it's a whole bunch of people just Mez.
Yeah, so this is like this is my coworker's boyfriend, and he used to be a DJ, so he's just in the process of like rebuilding his home studio, and like it sort of works out for him because like he's revisiting a lot of this, and he wants someone to work with, and meanwhile I have a lot less of the technical audio knowledge, so what I've prepared is like basically stems, like basic stems for a song and lyrics, and I'm gonna go over there and I guess record the lyrics, and maybe we'll mix some of the sounds together, and yeah.
Are you going to be like singing then, or rapping or something, like into a microphone for the first time?
Yeah.
Pretend you're somebody else. That's my advice. That's literally what I do. Sometimes I go on stage and I perform and I literally pretend I'm like one of my idols, and it really helps me escape. So that's my advice for you.
Cool, I like it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Mel. If I would be so bold as to shoot my mouth off, I think it's if you work with a producer, that's fantastic. Yes, that's great. If you both gel together and you understand what is sometimes called the Memphis rule, which is if 2 people are in the room writing a song together, it's a 50-50 split. And I actually think it's really important to lay down the framework about splits and money right at the get-go. Even if no money is being made, it's an exercise in negotiating, in talking through, and because you never know. Secondly, Because if they write music, they own it. If they add a chord, they own it. Well, they're in there. And all that shit's got to be negotiated. Secondly, I believe that it's extremely important for people to start programming and to find their place. And it might take you 1 or 2 albums to get to a place where you are ready to program. But as you progress through it, and as you work at programming, and there's so much software now, and there's so much stuff to help you sound half decent, the objective is to find your sound. I am going to say that easily 50% of your sound is your voice and what you say. How do you sing? Do you scream? Do you rap? Do you whisper? What are you talking about? How do you put those words together? That's you and your brand. Then all the music that is supporting the craziness that's going on is the other thing. And as you move down the highway of your career, you've got to get to a point, I think so personally, where you can program, where you can say, do I want to use this guitar or do I want to use slap bass? Because slap bass is cool. Do I want to use this fat sound or do I want to use this kind of like butter sound? Then, those decisions about production, which producers usually make, you've got to be making those decisions that the palette of your band sounds like this, as opposed to stock standard presets coming out of a fucking Access virus synthesizer, which you really don't want. You've got to build all that shit, I think so personally. Razzie, I think your hand just went up. Melanie, is your hand still up? Okay, I'll throw it to you after Razzie.
The beginning of starting this, what I assume is a lot of people watching and on the panel are independent producers creating their own music and sometimes taking it from inception to release on their own, which is why this concept is so great, little camaraderie. The beginning of that, every single song feels like a monumental task, and also the make break, possibly for your entire oeuvre, even though it's likely that you'll write 100 more songs and release 1,000 more releases. And being in the habit of doing that, I think, is a really valuable thing. I'm not sure how other people feel about the value versus curse of doing it, but doing a lot at the beginning that you maybe don't intend to release and don't feel the pressure of making it perfect can be incredibly valuable to owning some of the decisions you'll make when you do collaborate. It has for me.
Yes. Thank you. Really good point. Mel, hit me.
I was just going to say, I guess, when I was listening to Carl talk about the 50-50 thing, I work with one other person most regularly, most of the time. And while I would argue to say, like, I'm more of the producer, I'm more of like the songwriter, singer. We do make like all the decisions of the sounds, even if I'm not producing like the entire track with him together. Like, we want it to sound like this. I want this kind of bass. I want drums like this. And when I was less experienced with production, especially, that's what we did. And like, I realize now as I've gotten older and actually produce more myself now I'm like, I used to not value my ideas as much, and I thought, like, maybe I'm not adding enough because I'm just the singer and the songwriter and I just write chords, but I'm not sitting and like helping him like tweak the mix and stuff like that. But there is value in your ideas. I guess that's all I was saying. So like with a collaboration, be okay with like letting go of your ego too. Like, I used to hold on to my ego. Like, I need to have, like, I always had to feel super involved because I started alone, doing this project alone. And when I involved somebody else, it got way bigger. It got way more successful. It got way just generally better. Not that I'm super successful, but better than I was before. And so yeah, I think that, like, I guess I find letting go of my ego when I went and worked with somebody was really beneficial to me. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Melanie. See, that's also a really important point as well, is that know what you want. And also, you know, as far as the splits go, if you walk in with a song that's complete or partway complete, that might also be a different situation. Yeah. It's really fun, Melanie, if I may. Me and Melanie have recently been working on a thing, and it was really fun because the way that we came about thing was through mood. I always think that writing a song, you're trying to storm this castle. And inside that castle is a song. A great song. And what's going on is that there's so many different ways you can get into that castle. You can go through the drawbridge, go up the hill, da-da-da-da-da. But it's kind of weird that what I think, if I may, I feel like what we did is we found this weird sort of subterranean level by exploring the emotion and the feeling of this cloud of emotion of feeling. And from that, you know, we went through all of these different attempts at making a chorus and da-da-da-da-da. And through bouncing stuff off each other, we found this really strong path.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about releasing that track. Go ahead.
I'm excited about releasing it too. And I was going to say, yeah, like the idea and emotion, while it seems like, especially when you start making music and you're younger, you have so many of those ideas and emotions, and then you get older and you get the more of the technical aspect of it and you lose the ideas and emotions. So if you can still manage like ideas and an emotion to write about, it is very valuable, because sometimes I literally sit for like days, like I have this ability and I don't know what to write about, and it's like fucking difficult. So yeah, not that I agree with you on everything else you said.
I'd like to talk about that. Unless anybody else wants to put in, Maz, do you feel that you have had a meal and do you feel happy about that meal? The meal what you just ate? That meal of intellectuality?
Very delicious advice from everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Can I, if anybody else has another question, let's throw it into the pot. Okay, because I would like to start on, this is my third attempt at asking a question of, I feel overwhelmed, mayhem, how do I put this into music? If we don't want to talk about this, we can talk about samplers. You know me. No, Razzie. No, fucking Rob, we're not talking about samplers. No, Ian. Ivan, no. Is that, yeah, it's this, I find it's so hard for me to turn on the machine. Like for me to turn on a sampler and start doing, I will actually sit there in my seat going, it's so important to have a pad, a notepad to just write stuff down all the time. You hear a cool phrase on the bus, on the radio, on something you're listening to, write it down. Put it in the stew. And at a later point, you might go through and you might come up with this chorus, and the chorus is about, I don't know, something, trees. And then you might go through this cloud saying, okay, well, what am I talking about with these trees? What, you know, to go through and to find ideas and to stick them together from all of the ideas that you have now. Starting on a blank canvas is the most terrifyingly, I can't do it, me, myself, not at all. Blank canvas on my computer, forget it. I just can't do it. Like, I have to go in there with an idea. I have to go in there with literally, think of it like, have you seen the movie Akira? Yeah, why am I surprised that so many of you have? Watch it. Akira was done in 1988. I think, I personally believe that Akira is the greatest manga movie ever made because of the process that they did. It was one of the last hand-drawn movies, and it's weird because it's basically 9 books that got compressed into a movie, and it's the first part and then the last part, and you spend the movie going, what the fuck's going on here? But that's part of the thing about Akira. It is about Neo Tokyo, about 30 years after a nuclear detonation, in turmoil. It's rebuilt and it's crazy and it's about to go to hell again. But there's this priest who prophesies the coming of Akira, and he has this massive mop and a red bucket, and he dips it in the red bucket, and he squirts this kanji on the sidewalk, and it's perfect. This kanji is perfect. And I always think about that moment, that it's like I got a bucket of shit, I got a mop, and I got a sidewalk that's probably covered in piss, blood, and bullets. I will now do this thing. And it's just that moment that is what I try and capture to formulate it in. Hold on, Ivan, I'll throw it to you in a minute. This is what's crazy about writing a song, is that it's a cloud. There's this cloud of thought. And I am trying to make sense of this cloud. Ultimately, what you want to do is you want to present a bottle of water to someone with a cool label on it. Oh, cool, water, open drink. But you as the artist, you start with the cloud. And somehow you got to make the fucking thing rain. Sometimes it wants to pour on you. Sometimes it ain't gonna goddamn rain. But you've got to figure out how to make it rain. Next, you got to catch those ideas. I know I'm getting really meta right now. You got to catch those ideas. You got to put them in a bottle, and you got to put a cool label on it. And if you don't like the idea of, I don't like my music being labeled, think of it as fashion. Think of it as cool artwork to go with it. That's part of the fun. This is punk rock. Come on, punk rock was defined by the punk rock look, the ransom note look, the Xeroxed photocopied zine stuff. Embrace all of these parts as you're giving somebody a bottle of water. That makes no sense. I'm going to shut up. Ivan, go.
Akira was an amazing movie. You like, if you haven't seen it and you think you're doing cyberpunk, you've missed out on, one of the most important parts of what that word even means. And every scene in it is inspiring. And then the music.
I have the soundtrack.
The music is amazing.
Yeah.
And then the reason that the animation is so lush is because while it was hand-drawn, they hand-drew it and then used a computer to tween all of those frames.
Didn't know that.
And so it ended up being a very high frame rate. And, and they were able to accomplish all of that just utter beauty, because, they cheated. But it wasn't cheating at the time, because tweening, scenes in a animation back then, that was new stuff. And yeah, the audio and the story, this it's not the same as the original manga by a long run, but they condensed it down to a movie and it still worked.
Yeah, kind of. I want to just sidetrack onto, unless I'm interrupting you because I'm a bastard, I want to talk about the soundtrack of that movie.
Everything about it is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so big.
Yeah, it uses a lot of traditional Japanese instruments with weird vocals. But they're inspired by traditional Japanese theater music.
Yes.
And it's really, it's beautiful. It's weird, and it's so beautiful. There's a concept in Japanese music where there's no bass instrument because they don't want to define the bass. Here is the bass. This is as low as it gets. Doesn't go any lower than here. Here is the bass. Because when you listen to a lot of Western music, it's quite defined where that bass is, and you can say, oh, but what about the taiko drum? But the thing about the taiko drum is that it's bottomless. And so many Japanese instruments do not exist to define the bass because it just keeps going.
When the way you use taiko, it's nearly melodic down there anyways, because, different parts of the drum, different things.
Yeah, crazy shit. But besides Akira, does anybody else want to bring up something about the songwriting process and the cloud? I think I just lost everyone just then. I see hands up. Ivan, your hand is still up. Did you want to talk about songwriting specifically?
I suck at writing lyrics.
We could talk about that.
I suck so bad at it.
Before we go into that massive mountain. I want to throw it to Eric.
Yeah, I don't know if this helps, but this helps me if I don't have, if I'm stuck or I can't get that cloud or the blank canvas. I just like to go into whatever tools I have and pick out a drum kit or pick out an instrument, and I'll just start fucking around with it and then start tweaking sounds to it until it starts to inspire me. And then like maybe I'll come up with a really dope drum beat with it. Then I'll change, the different things and just starts that way. And sometimes I'll go into a blank canvas with no idea what I'm doing. And some of my best songs have come out that way. Just throwing sounds out and manipulating them and fucking around. And that's it. Yeah.
That's great, man. Thank you. Maz, then I want to throw back to, I want to talk to Ivan about lyrics, unless you want to talk about lyrics, but the floor is yours.
So the way I've been doing it is, just sort of like writing poetry, and like if it's really bad or anything, I just write it out, and like whether it's on my phone because I'm at work and I'm just like jotting something down on my phone, or if I'm sitting at home and just like writing it in my sketchbook, I'm just like making a bunch of rhymes and just scattering them wherever, and the intent later is to gather them and like put some chords behind it. And I'm still trying to get to a point where like maybe I could do it the reverse and like have some music first and then have some lyrics, but I haven't gotten there yet. So far I'm just like retroactively putting chords to the lyrics that I have. That's what I got.
That's good. That's a really strong way to attack this. Ivan, do you have music already and you're having trouble putting the music lyrics to the music?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of that.
Okay. I'm going to mute my mic for a second so only we can hear this. Hi, I just wanted to say hi. So, here is my thoughts. Listen to the piece of music. Step one. And even if there is a version where there's no drums, great. Now, use a whole bunch of words to describe what images are in your head. And if you can't do that, go for a walk. What is in your head? What feelings and emotions and thoughts do you have that are going on? Does it feel like it's a car chase? Does it feel like it's two massive spaceships parked next to each other, orbiting Coruscant, blasting the fuck out of each other? Does it feel like it's a bank heist? Does it feel like it's somebody reflecting on a broken heart? What does it feel like? Now, there is somebody involved in this. Tell their story. What's his name? It's coming. John fucking Fox. John Fox did an album that was called A Man, a Woman, a City. And all of the tracks was about a man and a woman in a city. And I took that idea for an album called Bang Operative, and I went a man, a woman, a city, 2 a.m., they're involved in a crime, the crime's gone wrong. What's going on now? And you might have an idea like that for a track or an album, whatever. But just try and find what is the message inside the song. Then stand in front of the microphone and verbalize words and record it in the chorus over and over. Like put that chorus in a loop and just yell or sing or yodel. And do it for like 3 minutes. You got to be in the mood. You got to go, I'm going to do this. It's going to be good. And then just go at it. And it might be a soft voice. It might be a screamy voice. It might be something. But within that, you might find the melody. And then within the vocals and the picture that we're talking about, you'll probably find the words. And it might be something as simple as the traffic is killing me. Or whatever it is, the rain is eating my skin. I don't know. Play with it. Razzie, I'm going to throw it to you.
Ivan, are you not happy with what you've made, or are you having more trouble getting to making things?
One results in the other. When
Go
I
ahead.
was in my younger days, being a bit neurodivergent, spelling in English was really bad for me because a bunch of like sloppy, arbitrary, shitty spelling rules doesn't make anything logical ever happen. As a result, growing up, a lot of fun got made of my writing, which caused me to not write. Making the music, not a problem.
Right.
But writing words,
There's two
I'm
things that
on this.
sure, yeah, lifelong, absolutely. There's two things that makes me think of, and one of these may resonate, and the other one might be somewhat repulsive. But there is, first of all, there's the work. You sit down and you make the clackety clack, and you have words come out on the page. And in the same way Carl was saying, you scat over the chorus until you find the melody. You'll have 6 pages of lyrics, and here's 7 words that I really like. These are the emotionally charged ones. These are the ones that have some sort of symmetry or some sort of through line. And yeah, you spent a week, a day, whatever, coming up with these pages, but now you've got your key phrases. And here's the other part. There is a system to what makes prosody versus verse versus verses appealing, effective. And I can't push anyone toward that, adopting that as a salvation for their problems. But if it clicks with you, knowing how to align the stresses of English words with the metric divisions of your track, and knowing which words are the ones that should have that emphasis melodically in the contours of the song and aligning with the beats, sometimes can relieve me of making the difficult decisions of what's inspirational, where do I feel this? And to wrap it up, there's a book by Wayne Chase. If I don't know if everybody else is kind of familiar with this. It's called How Music Really Works, and he's got a few chapters on systematizing getting through that lyric process. And you grab a thesaurus and you'll mark up some things and you use rhyming dictionaries, but finding the appropriately emotionally poignant and charged words in your output. So the combination of writing a lot, winnowing it, and selecting using a process is one of my sort of successful and effective methods of getting past similar feelings to what you're describing.
Thank you, mate. Remind me about Peter Gabriel. But first, here's Melanie. Melanie.
So for lyrics and writing, I guess when I think of writing a song, I think of a song like a moment in time. And I think of if I'm writing a scene in a book, right? Because I actually do a lot of like regular writing. And I think of like, who is the character? What is the character looking at? What is the character thinking? And what words can I use to put both the emotion of the scene, the visual of the scene that I'm trying to put across to the listener? That doesn't even necessarily need to be wordy. It can be very simple. Like sometimes you want to do sometimes you also rewriting. So I'll write the idea, say I have a scene, say it's like, this is like a really bad example. Say I'm like writing a song about being a girl in a forest alone or something like that, right? I'm in a forest alone. So I'm writing first a draft of just like that. I reread it and I go, how can I make this more interesting? Well, I could use like, kind of like you're saying, like take some words, say you have the word, what's a good word? Say you have the word despair, okay? You need to find a less cliche word for that. Google words like despair. Simple. Like you said with the thesaurus and stuff like that. I also found too, when I got really like into writing a lot of lyrics and I was like in my most deepest of like writing all the time, I would use a lot of like references, like mythology or like history and stuff like that, like looking up stuff on that could be very inspiring. But the thing I would emphasize the most is the story part. And also me, why I'm kind of like a fast writer is 'cause I do a lot of like writing for fun. Like me and my friend are big into like Dungeons and Dragons, like role playing. So we'll like constantly be like role playing all the time, stories, like all the time. It doesn't always have to be good, but because I'm constantly used to using my brain in a lyrical word way of like describing a scene, when I can sit down and write a song, it comes out really fast now. And I don't think it would have been like that if not for me exploring that area of writing. So that's what I would say about it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Eric, I'm going to go in after you. I really appreciate that, Melanie. Eric, what you got for me today?
Carol, I'll do my best I can. So, like everybody said, and I agree with everything, it's all great advice. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that because that's fucking horrible. And that really, really takes people down notches and fucks with them mentally. But some of the things I could recommend too, like everyone mentioned at the source, I think that the source is crucial for writing of anything you're doing. Using cliche words is fine, or overused words is fine, and it's good because you can use it. But like having a thesaurus to use words that maybe people don't use as often is awesome. It also helps you find rhyming words for ends of sentences that you want to use. Like Melanie said, despair, but your end of your sentence or like your line is bad or something, and then you want to rhyme bad with something, you can look up despair and find something else that it helps a ton. Crap, what else was I going to say? Another thing Carl mentioned before too, scatting or humming, getting that melody down, I think is very important too. And even if you don't have just that melody, always record it if you like what you have, because you will forget it in the future and you'll feel like, crap, what I had really good idea for this. And once you get that melody in your head or even hummed or whatever onto a recording and you can hear it with your beat or whatever you're working on, it helps me personally just get lyrics out. Start taking those words that Carl was saying, just what's this song in your head about? Get those words out. Use a thesaurus, get some other words out, and just start going along with it like that. And we've mentioned in previous streams as well, just getting your settings around you ready to go to get you in the mood to do it may help, instead of just sitting with all the lights on and trying to come up with something. Like, get in the mood, light your candles, incense, whatever you do, put the dark around you and go for it. I had something else and I forgot. If I remember, I'll raise my hand again.
Thank you.
My name is Melody, not Melanie, just for everybody. I know they sound very similar.
Oh, cool. Thank
Melody,
you.
like a melody. That is my birth name too. My parents were musicians, so.
My apologies. Thank you.
No big deal. It's totally fine. I understand why it happens. And a lot of people just say it by accident sometimes, so it's okay. I know.
Thank you. I apologize because my accent may have jumbled your name.
Yeah, with you, I can tell it's more your accent, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure you know my name is Melody,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I think I'll stop calling you Sophie. No, I'm being a prick. Okay, so listen to Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel has got a, in fact, if you're in a rut, watch what other musicians do. The current Beatles fucking documentary that Peter Jackson from New Zealand did. It's a great documentary. He did a really good documentary on the Beatles, because that's how New Zealanders talk. Am I right, Rob? Right.
God.
Also, there's a YouTube video on Peter Gabriel where he's doing Us or Security. I can't remember which album, but it's him and his Prophet 5 and his Fairlight, and it's very sexy. And he goes through how he writes lyrics and plays croquet. But watch what he does, because it's brilliant. When you are singing, here's a piece of advice as a male. Males like to say, I think. Go with I feel. Start opening that door and talk about what you feel. And I do really also, like Eric said, I want to address, why are you vomiting at me, Julius? I want to address that those fuckers who had the audacity to say shitty things about your writing. Yeah, man, that's really shitty. That's what I've hated my voice for 10 years because some cocksucking fuck who now works for Hillsong. I just want to say fuck Hillsong. It's a cult. Fuck it. Anyway, he said, "Oh man, you've got a really crap voice." Just kidding. Anyway, that friendship ended. Fuck those guys. You've got us. So if you've got tracks you want to throw around or ideas or lyrics, throw it on the Discord and we'll listen to you. Lyrics are fucking hard. As somebody has already said, it's going to take 1 or 2, in my case 5 or 6 rewrites to get it right. So when you start jamming and coming up with stuff, and I'll be as quick as I can, and you start working towards this idea. It's a cabin in the wood where there's been a murder, or what I was talking about before, or whatever it is. Step 1, like Melody said, research it. Research some mythology that's surrounding this. There might be crows. What's the mythological impact of crows? What did the Egyptians talk about crows? God, I wish fucking Grimm was here because he could give us the full rundown on crows. Greek mythology, anything to do with mythology, Hack is the man. Grimm, Aaron is your man. Also, look into the politics. Research some political ideas that are surrounding this. How do you feel about those political ideas? Is there any way you can twist this into some mythological, political, weird fucking thing with some cannibalism? Because, I like cannibalism. Cannibalism's bad. Don't joke about cannibalism. That's not okay. And also remember your alternative rhymes, like rhyme cake with face, for example. Thank you very much, Mez, for the link to the Discord. I should put that link here. And also look at the rhymes. I'm sorry, I buggered my arm up, so I'm fucking in terrible pain right now. Hey, check it out. Boom, Discord. Play with the rhymes. A, B, A, B, A, C, whatever. Fuck with the rhymes. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Melanie, your hand is still up. Did you want to say some more stuff?
I actually probably should turn that off. No, I don't really have anything to add.
Okay, you're a fucking rock star. Rob, you're also a rock star. You're a Rob star. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me slowly. Hit me quick. Hit me.
Yeah, baby. Not all music has to rhyme. A lot of the old poetry never rhymed. A lot of classic rock doesn't rhyme. Use expressive adjectives and other statements that are describing a mood or a setting, and nobody will care that it doesn't rhyme because they get what you're describing by using those words. And don't forget that you can speak words. You can sing in a low voice, a gruff low voice like Nick Cave, and it'll come across. It'll be colorful, even if it doesn't rhyme. You can sing in a high voice falsetto, or you can shout it. You can scream it. You can change parts of the song with different sounds of your voice, and you don't have to be comfortable with it. In actual fact, when your voice is crackly and shitty and pitchy, that's what people connect with. They know you're human, and they go, fuck yeah, I know exactly what they're saying, and that reaches me and touches my soul. That's really what's important, not to make it all la-di-da, clean, and all verbiage nicely, and it all matches, everything's syncopated magically. Break the rules. That's why Carl says it's important if you don't know what you're doing, because 9 times out of 10, that's where the magic be.
Thank you, Rob. I thoroughly agree. Ivan, talk to me.
Yeah, and Nick, speaking of Nick Cave, if you want to listen to somebody who talks about his process the best, he wins. he's really good at talking about his process. It, you know, always worth listening to his wisdom on things because obviously he has that. Yeah, and on the lyrics thing, I suck at writing the lyrics. The singing part, yeah, that's never a problem at all. And on the singing side, that was probably my worst musical mistake ever. It was way back in the like 1990. Back then, my bass warm up was always like 3 or 4 New Order songs in a row, and when I was left to my own devices and taking a shower, I was going to be singing a New Order song in the shower, because backwards and forwards, know them all. It's not a problem. One day, thought I was alone at the apartment, taking my shower, didn't realize anybody had come home, come in, and I get out of the shower, get right off dressed, and step into the kitchen, and my girlfriend's standing there with this look on her face, like, and I was like, what? And she's like, you're really good. And I was like, nah. And then like later that afternoon, like Jason from the band is over, and Michelle's like, you really need to sing for him now, because this will change everything. And I was just like, I can't do that. Oops. All the mistakes all at once.
Confidence is difficult. You're gonna hate your voice.
Wait, fear is the mind killer.
Yeah, it sure is. You're gonna hate your voice, and you're gonna hate your lyrics. You're gonna hate your music. You just have to get over it. It's really funny. We had a big brainstorm. I'm sorry, I just interrupted you. Eric, I'm going to throw to you in a second. We had a big brainstorm here about how do you overcome this? Is there a trick to not hating what you do, not hating fucking everything that you do? And the outcome of it was no. All of us really hate what we do. And you've just got to push through it. Like, and everybody else is going, man, fuck, I love your voice. And yet everyone's complimenting each other. It's like, doesn't matter, we can't feel it. Eric.
Sorry. Yeah, truer words were never spoken. I remember what I was going to say, and it was something else that helps me, and a lot of exercises I did as an English major in college was free writing exercises, and that helps an absolute ton. And just literally sit down, have an idea of like those words in your head, and just write, and don't worry about anything. It doesn't have to make sense. It might help get your brain going and jog it to start writing, and then I think after that you have like a page or 2 pages or 3 pages, just keep writing and writing. You might have a couple lines in that are just like gold, Jerry, it's gold, and you pull those lines out and you can use them and for your song or other songs. Hold on to them, write them down. I know Aaron's he's not here, but what does he call it? It's Frankenstein cards, whatever. He staples together like the ones he likes and keeps his list, and he can pull them out and redo them. But yeah, free writing has always helped me, and especially if people have writer's block, it's a huge thing that could help you get over that writer's block. And yeah, that's it.
Brilliant, man. Thank you. Julius.
Yeah, Eric, I absolutely vibe with what you just said. I don't call it free writing, I call it shit writing, and I got a folder called shit writing on my hard drive, and yeah, it really helps a lot. And just one more thought about the lyric thing: does it always have to be complicated? In case of, okay, say you want to write about cotton candy because you like cotton candy, can there be not like just one line that says cotton candy and it goes all the song long, just for a start? Just a thought.
That's a fucking great thought. Seriously, that is a great thought. Because something like that can go anywhere at all. I'm going to shut it now. Melody!
So, since somebody mentioned Nick Cave, it made me think of something that one of my fans sent me once, which was basically like, I was complaining about writer's block, And he said, like, Nick Cave doesn't believe in writer's block. He believes that's just like laziness, essentially. And that if you wait to be inspired to write, you're just putting off writing. And I always think about that now. And I do kind of agree with him in some extent. And even if you write and it's not great, like rewriting is a major part of it. And I think it depends on also the level of lyricism you're at. So like, if you are like at more of a, you're not as used to writing lyrics, my advice to you would be to write a lot, and most of it won't be used. I've written so much in my fucking life because I've been writing lyrics extensively for like a long time that I don't really write as much as I used to, but there was a point where literally I would write like 7 songs a day, and like I probably wouldn't use any of those songs, just like the lyrics. So I guess, yeah, my advice is, if you have to wait to feel inspired, fuck that, just force something out. Even if you think it's stupid, just force it out, because eventually, even if you don't use that idea, something will come to you later that you're like, oh, I actually really like this.
Thank you, Melanie. I overwhelmingly agree. And the track we were working on together, and I really, really enjoyed, damn it, working with you, Melody. It was bloody great fun. It came about because here's an idea. It doesn't work. Oh, here's an idea. Kind of works. Here's an idea. Yeah, we're getting there. Here's an idea. Bam. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's funny how the bad bricks that don't work, really, you got to leave them, man. It's a step you got to take. I was thinking how emotion loves imperfection. Like the ability to create something that is emotional and beautiful or terrifying, it needs imperfection. You know, when notes aren't quite right, or this or that isn't quite right. I don't even know why I'm telling you that, but I just was inspired to talk about it. If you can, have fun with the process. Like, have a wall, put, notes all over it, like what they do in the movies. You know, when they're writing a book, or treat it like it's a crime. Yeah, like it's a crime scene. And have fun with it. Like, if you can, turn this intellectual thing into physical, so you're actually sticking stuff on the wall or something. And I was also inspired by, I'm always reminded that Lou Reed was one of the hardest working guys in the 60s and 70s. And Andy Warhol walked up to him one day and said, you know what your problem is, Lou? You're lazy. And Lou thought about it and he went, yeah, you know, he's right. You know, there's so much more. I could be working smarter. I could be working harder. I could be working better. I have nothing else to add on that. And unless anybody else does, please throw in. Okay, so we could talk about something else, or we could call this. We could raid on over to MTV TV. I didn't even plug MTV TV at the beginning of this. I should be slapped. MTV TV. I'm gonna put this in there because this is so good. Look, give me a second. We may or may not be wrapping up right now. I don't know. Hold on. It's coming. MTV TV is bloody awesome. If you don't have your stuff on MTV TV, you should. Send them an email and they'll play you your stuff. And if you're bored and you got nothing to do, watch it. Because there are so many amazing bands on that thing. Plus, I will also mention that there are a whole bunch of killer bands you need to know about. It's on Spotify. Many of those bands are here. Check that shit out. If we don't want to talk about anything else, we could definitely go and raid on over to MTV TV. Chris likes retro. Thank you for joining us. But I see, Melanie, did you put your hand down or did you put it back up again? That's okay. I'm just questioning. Ivan.
You know, on the current political crisis and music, you know, two things. One, I definitely go back in time and listen to Tin Omen, Skinny Puppy, because that's has nothing to do with tin or omens. It's Tenement, and probably the best song on that album. And then just go re-listen to all of everything made by Crass.
Excellent.
And because they are who they are.
Yes, thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to throw in there? That was bloody awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I've got this one thing that I've been working on for like a year and a half now called Wohan, and because of Skinny Puppy, and now I suddenly find myself thinking about something reminding folks about it. You talked about cannibalism earlier. In 1939, when the Soviets invaded Finland, because they were gonna save all the Eastern Orthodox Finns from the horrible capitalist Protestant Finns. Solid logic. Shortly into the Winter War, Soviet troops got this idea in their head that the Finnish troops they were up against were cannibalizing them because they were making it that expensive. Terrified him even more.
Good stuff. And add that into your music. Like, pull in something from history that's really fucked up, and let your music reflect that stuff. Like, be inspired by it. Thank you for that. That's creepy. Aussie Rob from Australia. What do you got, Aussie Rob?
Smart ass.
That's the best American accent all day.
Well, all I could think of when I was watching Putin on the news and the invasion of Ukraine the other day was prefab war. Anyway, I see some new faces on here. Hello, Melody. Haven't seen you here before. And Raziel Panic. I'm interested in what your background is, Mr. Panic, and why you're here. What's your passion? What do you do?
I have had a project called You Shriek since mid-90s, early 90s, and we've been on labels, off labels, had distro, no distro, done some touring, but Boston-based. And I've released 3 or 4 albums, something extremely low, and a bunch of remix stuff and a bunch of experimental things with noise rather than composition, like traditional rock composition based. So runs that gamut. Strong basis in electronic music, doing much more heavily guitar, drums, bass, vocals kind of stuff right now at this very moment.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll Melanie is from Queen of the Static Opera, and if you haven't heard about them, you should. And Rez and Melanie, do me a favor, send me a track and I'll add it to the Art of Rock playlist that we've got going. And all I ask in return is you guys pimp it, because everybody's got a track on there, and if we're all pimping together, we're all hoping to promote each other. Queen of the Static Opera is lovely. Melanie has an absolutely lovely voice, and I've used her on 2 Angelspit tracks. I should let you talk about Queen of the Static Opera.
Sure. It's really, I guess I came up with the title of the project when I was like 17, but it really didn't get like real until like a couple of years ago. And it's kind of like an industrial adjacent ambient rock electronic project. It's just me and my bandmate. Nobody else really is involved. And yeah, we're looking to get on like some tours or something right now. I've been doing some sync placements. I've been working on trying to get my music into some movies and shit like that. And I do a lot of online, I build my base really organically online. Like I don't really buy likes, I don't buy bots and stuff like that and shit like that. It's all real people. So yeah, I continuously been doing that, and that's what Queen of the Static Opera is about right now.
Excellent. And bloody good releases and bloody good music. Oh yeah. If anybody else wants to throw anything else in, because we're getting close to time, or we'll right on over to MTV TV, and we're all going to hang back here and talk about how to deal with the insanity that's going on right now.
I just want to say Raz and Melody, if you have not submitted your videos, some videos to MTV TV, please do, because I would love to see you on there.
Yes. And it's MTV TV is a fantastic way to get your videos at people's faces, and also to learn about new bands, because it's funny, I've always MTV TV has shown me the diversity that's in our culture. I was really concerned that everything was just turning into EBM, but it's not.
Oh my God, you would think that too. I noticed that with MTV TV as well. It's like the goth gatekeepers just are keeping so much music.
Oh yeah, but
out.
they'll play everything that goes there.
Yeah,
So-
no, and I would just like, anyway, I just really noticed that. I totally agree, because it feels like why is it like everybody's doing the same thing? It's just like it's just you don't hear about the other people. It's
Yeah.
really hard to get through to them because everything's really elitist and gatekeepy, and it sucks.
Yeah, and the thing I'm loving about MTV TV is that I'm seeing stuff that is kind of hard industrial, kind of very rock, kind of very pop, kind of very electro girl band, kind of very screaming people, kind of very Noin Barton. And it's basically, it's showing the huge diversity that is not just club music. So yeah, if you've got a video, send it to them and they will play it. And if you've got a cat, hold it up in the air. Or was it a puppy? It was a cat. Yeah, I know,
Don't make
Riz.
me wake up my cat from her nap.
I saw your meow meow before. Quite a meow meow indeed. Okay, we are going to attempt to raid to MTV TV. Can I do this? God, I hope I can do this, because Diana's not here and I can't do anything without Diana. So we're raiding now. Thank you for joining us as you raid. Go to MTV TV. Do it now. I don't know if this is raiding. God, it's too hard. Bye. Bye.